Hi there, Derryanne Hubbard from Century 21 and Okanagan Valley Living. I just made this video and it was like 25 minutes long, so I'm going to talk fast, trim it down, and hopefully keep it brief. I apologize for how long it's been since you've heard from me and with a market update. Just really have taken on more than I should have and have been overworked, but that's my excuse. So here we are. Let's talk about what's happening in January. You've probably listened to the news, read reports. Our market is booming. Right across Canada, it is booming. But in the Okanagan, in almost 30 years of real estate, I've never seen a market this active, this so strong on the seller side. So it's what's causing this. So there are a number of factors that will help to explain this. Number one, here in the Okanagan, we have some great influence coming from the coast and from the prairies. People have figured out, and employers have figured out, people can work from home. Not only technically can they work from home, but their production allows them to work from home. They're not at home watching Netflix and not doing anything for their company. They're actually being highly productive, and employers are loving it because they are downsizing their office spaces. So we have a pretty big exodus from the Lower Mainland. I've sold a number of properties to people who are still working in the Lower Mainland and living out here. And they have family and friends out here. This is where they love to come and vacation. Now they can actually buy a property here and live here and travel back to the Lower Mainland once or twice a month, and that's it. So this is a trend that they started predicting, about a year ago, when COVID started to come in and people were going home. Would this continue? And it was anecdotal for a while that it is happening, but now it is statistically been proven. There is a mass exodus out of large city centers like Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto, Quebec City. As people have discovered, and their bosses will allow, they are moving into suburban areas as well as even further into small towns and farming communities so that they can work, raise their families away from the city, and still hold on to these great jobs. So it is happening all over Canada and United States. And it's going to be very interesting to see what our urban centers look like in 5 years, because there's a lot of office buildings that have been built because large corporations have their centers in these big cities. There are lots of, like, when I think of Vancouver, there's a ton of stratas in Vancouver where people who worked downtown wanted to live downtown, and now they're moving away. So what's going to happen to all these apartment buildings and small townhouses? It's going to be very interesting. So that is one of the trends that is really making the Okanagan boom, because so many people know of the Okanagan, would love to live in the Okanagan, but you folks don't have the jobs. You have way too many jobs that pay $15 to $22 an hour, and not nearly enough that pay $30 to $50 an hour. We have our doctors and lawyers and engineers, but what about high-end administration people, executive assistants, those kinds of people? We just didn't pay the money that they could get in Vancouver or Toronto. Well, now they can. So lots of people are buying properties here. We have a large number of people coming from Alberta. A lot of people in Alberta have just made the decision that the recovery for Alberta is going to be 3, 5, 8, 10 years. And they're not willing to wait there. So they are leaving Alberta and coming this way to BC. And a lot of them are landing in the Okanagan. So those two influx of people, of buyers particularly, are changing our market into a very strong seller's market. We have way too many buyers ready, willing, and able to purchase, and not enough houses. So let's look at the stats and we'll go from there. So this is the stats machine that I work with, and I'm looking at the North Okanagan. I can also look at the Shuswap Central. And if you look at 2021, Here are the stats going right across. The median house price is $575. A year ago, the median house price was, there it is, $479. So that is almost $100,000 up in a year. If you look at the days on market, DOM, 58 days to get a property sold in January of this year, and 97 a year ago. And that is actually even a little skewed because it will take into account larger end properties that always take longer to sell, or challenging properties if it's right on a busy street or has a very steep driveway. Those are going to take a month or 2 or 3, and that will skew this number. So I actually think the number is lower than this. The absorption rate is the rate at which properties are selling in relation to how many are listed. So if 100 are on the market in the month of January and 10 sell, the absorption rate is 10%. So a balanced market has an absorption rate of 14 to 16% approximately. We are at 32%. Look at last month, December. It was 51. That's unbelievable. Last year in January, it was 12. So much closer to a balanced market last year than we are now. So current inventory, this is really key. 178 properties on the market in January. Last year, 315. That is the key right there. These two stats here are the most revealing stats. And this is telling us what's happening with why prices keep going up, because there is simply not enough inventory on the market. So if you're thinking of selling your house in the next 5 years, I would strongly urge you to think about selling it in 2021. How long can this boom last? I don't know. I believe it's going to go through the entire year. Will it go into 2022? And this is barring any tragic event. If the government locks down the country again, all bets are off. You can't make any predictions. So, when they locked it down in March and April, everybody predicted that the market would come to a standstill, and it did. But we all thought that would last until the pandemic was over. Then 2 months later, 3 months later, we're booming. And so nobody could have predicted that. So another lockdown, we have no predictions that would be accurate. But I don't know how long the Okanagan can sustain this kind of increase in prices before bubbles start bursting. The amount of people that are qualified to buy as we go over 600,000 is going to get smaller and smaller. So I'm going to put out a plea. If you have been thinking of selling your house in the next 2, 3, 4 years, I would recommend you do it this year. I would love to come and talk to you and let you know, because this is the cream for realtors. Normally we have to go in and talk to sellers and disappoint them. They're hoping for 600. It's only worth 550. And we have to talk to them and chat with them about why their house isn't worth 600. Now they're thinking, gee, I hope it's worth 600. And we're going to tell them, no, it's actually worth 630. You're going to get more money for this house than you thought. So, and you're also probably only going to clean it up once, and you're going to have showings, and then you're going to get an offer. So this is not going to be a long drawn out process. It's going to happen quickly. Most likely you're going to get really strong offers or multiple offers that are going to go at list above list. And I'm going to show you something at the end of this video that is just going to crack your brain open. It's so crazy. But if you have so there's only 2 ways of handling, my house is going to sell really fast and there's no inventory. Where am I going to live? I'm going to be homeless. One way is to go out and find yourself a house and make it subject to the sale of your existing house. The problem with that is you're going to be competing with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 other buyers who want that house. The seller is not going to accept an offer subject to the sale of a house when he has 2 others that are not subject to the sale of. So that solution works very poorly. The other way is to list your house, and when an offer comes in on it, make it subject to you finding a house. Again, the problem with that is with low inventory, it may take you 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks to find a house. And you've got to find the house, write the offer, get it accepted, and remove all conditions before you're willing to say to the buyers of your house, now you can start your due diligence on my house. So it is a very, very tricky situation. Is there any solution at all? Yes, but it doesn't work for everybody. The solution is you need a plan B. Plan B means you have to find a child, your son or daughter, a brother, sister, mom or dad, or really good friend that will let you crash at their house, put your stuff in storage. You're going to have to make a double move. Put your stuff in storage, pack suitcases, and go and live in this person's house for probably 2 to 4 months. And, you know, this is the downside of the fact that you got $50,000 more for your house than you ever thought you would. The downside of that is you have to make concessions on living someplace so that you can find another house to move into. The only other solution is you hang on to your existing house until the inventory starts to rise. Well, as the inventory starts to rise, the frenzy to buy your house at full list price or above simmers down. So it's still going to be a good, strong market, but you're probably not going to make the money on your house that you could right now. But do you have a plan B? Do you have some place that you could go to? You're going to have to pack up all your stuff, put it in a storage unit, move into somebody's house, and get out and start looking for houses. But you're probably going to be sitting with a lot more money in your jeans than you thought possible. So that's the yin and yang, the up and down of this. So if you're thinking of it and want to sit and chat with me about how this potentially could work, I'm happy to do that. And at the end of the conversation, it may be, this will not work for us. We can't make this work. It may be, we can make this work. I'm not really liking it because Doris and Matthew aren't our great favorite friends, but they said we could stay in their basement. And so we're going to make it work. We're just going to make it work so that we can get out of our house and find another house. Okay, so the thing I wanted to show you at the end, let's see if I can pull it up so you can see it. Here it is here. Pull this out to make it bounce over here. Hopefully I didn't lose you. Okay, this is a rundown, needs a ton of work house on 18 acres just out near Salmon Arm Golf Course. So just south of Salmon Arm, right on the highway. And when we went to see it, my couple, we were hoping it was quite far back from the highway. No, it's pretty close to the highway. The noise factor is pretty intense. And they were asking $549. They had 5 offers on the house. Ours did not get chosen. They said we went with something higher. Look what it sold for, $650. Yeah, my people, like, I was really disappointed for them. They really wanted the house, and they said, oh, maybe we should have gone a little higher. And when they saw this, they went, okay, we were not even close to going that high. So isn't that amazing? Over $100,000 more for this house than it was listed for. Just trying to get back into, nope, doesn't look like it's going to let me get back to my video piece here. So hopefully it all worked. So that is my update. I'm sorry it's still long. It's almost 14 minutes, but I hope you're doing well. Spring is coming soon. If you want to have that conversation, no pressure, no obligation. I'm just very willing to do it by Zoom if that works better for you, on the phone, or I will come over to your house masked up, and we can distance, but I can have a conversation with you. All right, folks, take care. I hope your new year is off to a great start.